Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk with Aziz and Farouk from Somint. How are you guys?
All good. How are you?
Good.
Perfect. I'm really glad to have you. So we're just going to start right away because we're going to try to stop the chit chat. So the idea is, could you please just introduce yourself, explaining us what's your background and all this kind of thing?
Farouk, I'll let you go first.
Cool. My name is Farouk Azeez. I'm one of the co-founders of Somint NFT art marketplace. I'm an artist, a designer, and a curator, and a model, and a few other things as well. So I just do a lot of different things and try to keep myself busy. But I guess the core of everything I do is kind of outside of what I do for myself personally is just trying to get more people to create, and hopefully Somint will be a vessel for that as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Azeez Saeed. I'm one of the founders of Somint. I would describe myself as a creative entrepreneur. My background is within event management and marketing. That's kind of what I do, one of the things that I do on the side. As well as that, I also model and a bit in graphic design. And I guess for me, at the core here with Somint is that I believe in spreading the kind of energy that'll help the next person grow. And since my, I guess, foray into the blockchain ecosystem, I've seen a need for more creatives to be in this ecosystem and for this technology, blockchain technology, to not be a technology that creatives get left behind on. So that is why I have teamed up with Farouk to bring more creatives and artists into the blockchain ecosystem using NFTs.
Okay, that's cool. So you guys are basically what's interesting for you now. It's really things related to art, right?
Yes.
So it's something that you both have been involved for quite a while. It's an environment, an ecosystem that you already know.
Indeed, yes. And we've seen that how a lot of the systems that are in place, we would refer to them even like the art world that we know today is kind of like arts 2.0. And we are seeing that these systems, these like institutions, powers that be or whatever it may be, they don't always favor the artist. They don't always favor the creative. And we are trying to bring art 3.0 to the world with Somint, where passion comes first.
Yeah. And just to clarify and add to that as well, like to add a little bit of timeline to Art 2.0 and Art 2.0 for us, Art 1.0 was everything before the Renaissance, Art everything from the cavemen, and then Art 2.0 is everything since the Renaissance till now, and that was way too long of a time period. I think where there should have been a lot more change and there wasn't that much transition. And Art 3.0 is what we're moving into and what we're hoping to bring to the world and what we are going to bring to the world.
That's really interesting because I think for a lot of people, including me, art is always something really remote. It's an elite thing where it's some people who know things, so it doesn't feel like everybody can be a part of it.
Exactly.
And if I understand, your idea would be also to allow more people to have access to it, right?
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, we're not going to take, because that even saying that we're going to have the power to tell people that they can or can't be artists is elitist in a sense, because we want people to realize that they already are, or a lot of people already are artists. They just have to accept it within themselves. It's not our job to tell you whether you are an artist or you're not an artist. That's up to you to decide between whatever, like just between you as the individual to decide, am I an artist, am I not an artist? We're going to just make your life a lot easier as an artist to be able to make yourself make it a bit more financially viable, maybe, or like make the processes for you to fund yourself through your creativity. That's what we're here for. But we're going to help people realize in whatever way we can that you are an artist. If you say you are an artist, if you want to be an artist, then you don't need to wait to fit into a certain bracket or to be whatever else, or wait for an elitist person or any organization to tell you that you are an artist or you're not an artist. That's decisions up to you.
Okay, that's actually really clear, and I really like this concept of it's not somebody needs to tell you you're allowed to or not. If you think you are and you're legit, just go. And actually, I think that at the end of the day, it's also the public who's gonna kind of judge, if they judge, I don't know if it's the word, but if they like it or if they want to invest in it or something. So
Exactly.
On that point, there's something that we have seen within the NFT art market that exists already, is that there is a transition of Art 2.0 just being facilitated through blockchain technology, through NFTs. And what I'm trying to get on when I say that is that with some platforms that exist today, you have to go through an application process to get onto their platform, to mint your NFT, to trade your artwork. And for us at Somint, we don't want to have to be the ones to do that. We don't want to be the ones to say, oh, Gwendol, today you are allowed on our platform. You're allowed to sell your art. That decide. You should be able to go to the marketplace and sell your artwork, if it's only to 5 people who want to purchase it or it's 1,000 people who want to purchase it. But at the end of the day, it's not us that decides whether or not your art can be bought or sold. It is the market that decides that, and we want to give everybody access to this market.
Okay, that's I think pretty clear, and you kind of started to make the transition, which is which is good. Can you explain us a bit how blockchain, and especially Cardano in our case, can help doing this? What is it, the plus that blockchain brings, and hello for this kind of marketplace?
So I guess I'll start off with an NFT and then I'll connect it to like where blockchain connects there. So blockchain, what a blockchain is it is a database, a ledger, a list of transactions that nodes, computers all around the world have the same copy of. And there has to be some sort of consensus between all these computers that a change or transaction has went through on the blockchain. Now, so as I've said, a blockchain is a database, it's a list of transactions. Now, where NFTs come in is that an NFT, how I like to describe it is the birth certificate of an asset. And now that asset can be digital or physical. But in this situation of Somint, we want to create an art NFTs where people will have the birth certificates of an asset, an art asset, that is recorded on the blockchain. And the blockchain that we have decided to use is Cardano's blockchain. And part of why we decided to use Cardano's blockchain is because in comparison to other blockchains that use a consensus mechanism known as proof of work, Cardano uses one called proof of stake, which actually makes it more eco-friendly to the environment. So those are a couple of reasons as to why we ended up using Cardano and the like connection between blockchain technology, NFTs, and art that we are trying to make.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, like there's loads of specific like artist-related problems or issues from like an artist perspective that NFTs and the blockchain enables a solution or creates a solution for. One of the biggest being what you touched on with what blockchain specifically enables is the idea of like I guess, yeah, like you said, the birth certificate. So it's like that ability, especially for digital art, didn't really exist. That's why like digital art isn't a new thing, and a lot of people are only just discovering it or considering it an art now, because of obviously there's money in it and they're seeing people making crazy money and they're like, oh, okay, now it's art. But the digital art has been around for donkeys, like it's been around for years and years, but it just wasn't getting the same acclaim or attention because of people weren't financing, or like the money wasn't really behind it. So where NFTs come into play is that they have created a way for people to basically understand that you can own that digital asset, like Azeez described there with like a birth certificate. Having that birth certificate, you're not the video itself isn't the NFT, it's the birth certificate that you own. You know, you don't own the baby, you own that, you own the birth certificate, and then people can disseminate and use or copy, I guess, the digital file if they want or please, but you'll always own that birth certificate. It's up to you to pass it around or sell it on as you wish. And also it allows for artists to be able to essentially earn money from their, or earn royalties from their work beyond the first sale. And that's something, again, that's new to this space, or like, it's not necessarily new, it's just something that hasn't been implemented really well across the world. But it's something that blockchain technology and NFTs allow to become a lot easier through the use of smart contracts. So I think that's something that's going to revolutionize the world, when a lot of artists realize, oh, I can make money off my work after I sell it for the first time. And then, like, if I put in loads of work as an artist, I develop myself as an artist, and 10 years time, now my work is selling for millions, or 69 million to be exact. I can make money from that first piece that I sold when I was a developing artist, or a starting artist. And then not only does the seller benefit, I can benefit as well. And then once I pass away, my whoever I decide to leave my private keys to can also benefit. My family can benefit in the long run. My hair, like, just my generations following me will always continue to. It's just a nice perpetual source of income if you decide to develop yourself and invest in yourself as an artist or a creator.
Okay, so like I think that it was a really good explanation on how, like, this birth certificate. I really like the idea, because it's easy to understand. And if I will understand, then if you have some smart contracts linked to this token, let's say you could say the creator might get 10, 15, 20% of each new resale, exactly, which means that it's not like Van Gogh who died poor and nothing, and then his art worth millions. The artist and the creator would be able to get a cut at every new resale, right?
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you said Van Gogh, because of, like, Van Gogh obviously is that goes back to, like, Renaissance era, but the exact same issue that he faced, whenever, I can't, don't quote me on that, but that goes back a while back, we'll say, but that same issue that Van Gogh faced with not being able to earn money, or his family not being able to be reimbursed for the work that he put in as a creative, is the exact same issues that's happening to this day. We have a few examples on our website. So if you have a chance, take a look at somint.art, and you will see examples of recent artists from this generation and who are still alive today, some of them, whose work has been sold and they're getting nothing. They're being sold for millions and they're getting zero, and that's a massive problem.
Why is it always the artist seems to be the last person to get paid? Or even in this situation, their art has resold and they're getting nothing from it. Yes, maybe they decided to sell at a cheap amount because they are the struggling artist, the artist that needs to make money and can't afford to not sell any work at all. But then it's crazy how down the line, as they've invested more into their craft, maybe established themselves more in the world, it's only people who supported them at the very beginning maybe who reap the benefits. But the artists, the creative themselves, they don't necessarily reap the benefits, other than, I guess, the notoriety that, oh, okay, my art piece sold for XYZ amount. But in that situation, they could still be the broke artist that everybody kind of perceive. Well, not everybody, I can't assume everybody does, but there's a lot of people in this world that presume that the artist is broke. They don't presume that being an artist is a viable career path or whatever it may be. Now look what we've seen with Beeple. This is somebody that put 13 years of work into his craft. Every day for 13 years he created an art piece, and recently it sold for 69 million, and everyone's like, oh my god, wow, it sold for so much. But he put in time and effort into his craft. To a certain extent, I think he deserves that. That's me personally, totally. Anyways, but yeah.
So it's like, I really understand this idea of having something fairer to the creator. Really like the concept. And there is another thing I would like to ask you. You say, like, you talk about digital art, but Azeez, you also talk about physical. So I guess you were referring to a photograph or a painting or something like this. Could it also be added as NFT or linked to NFT?
I think it will be linked to NFTs. I think just with digital art, that's kind of like the first iteration, the first example that we're seeing where NFTs are useful. But the same thing can be added to physical art, because there's a thing in the art world called provenance, And that's kind of like the history of an art piece, which is something that they look for. Now, with blockchain technology, we could now just begin to record that provenance on the blockchain. And the blockchain is an immutable, unchangeable ledger. So maybe I'm someone with the birth certificate for an art piece, a painting, so to speak, but maybe someone across the world needs to find information about the history, the previous owners of this art piece, whatever it may be. But we can now use the blockchain to figure exactly to trace that better. And that's where blockchain comes into play. Like blockchain is going to revolutionize our world. In my opinion, it's going to revolutionize our world, not because it brings completely new things to the table. What it's going to do is just clean up some of the systems that we use where we had to trust somebody behind a closed door to be given the complete, valid, and 100% correct information. Whereas with blockchain, we can ensure that the correct information is recorded on the blockchain. And then from there, we don't, to a certain extent, I don't need to trust you, Gwendol, that the art piece you're trying to sell me is the art piece that you're selling me, because I'll be able to look on the blockchain and track its history and be like, okay, yes, this is the art piece that you are trying to sell me. And that in itself is going to help our world a lot, because trusting each other when we're trying to transact with each other is a huge barrier to trade as it is in our world. So yeah.
And to add to that idea of provenance as well, I think another cool element that people probably haven't realized yet, and it might not show itself for another few years, is the fact that like it's going to become such a mad thing, or like it's just going to become something that's going to add a bit more spice or a bit more energy to NFTs when you can look back at the history of who's owned this piece. Like imagine owning a piece of whatever artist, like you pick your artist and then you look at the history and then you realize, oh man, this person owned this. Oh man, that NBA player owned this. Oh man, this football player owned that once upon a time. And then like over the years, as like that piece develops its own history, and the history is not only linked to the artist, and the artist being a significant player obviously in creating that piece in the first place, but the history is also linked to the provenance and like who's owned this piece over time. As like, do you want to be part of that list as well? And that hopefully that will encourage people to actually just take part in this space and like invest in different artists that you like, because you don't know where that history is going to be. And do you want to be part of that list, or do you want to be part of that provenance of like this piece that you believe in from the start? And I think that's something that's going to come into play for a lot of people down the line as well, you know. And I also want us to like make clear that yes, we're here for the artists and we're focused on the artists, but we're also focused on collectors as well, and opening up the space to, or like basically redefining what a collector is. Like what you mentioned earlier, Gwendol, really hit me, of like the idea that like or the conversation that we had about like someone needing to tell you that you are an artist, or someone needing to tell you that you have to fit into a bracket. It's the exact same conversation when it comes to collection of art and buying art. There's a major elitist approach, or I don't want to say approach, but there's a major elitist like view when it comes to collecting art, and like you must be whatever, like you need to go study what it means to be an art collector. You need to like have hit years in the arts before you can become an art. And no, that's not the case. If you buy a print from your friend who's selling something, or if you buy like, or if you're a family member and you buy, like you're an art collector, you are now collecting that individual's art. And we want everyone to realize that anyone can become an art collector. If you are a fan of someone who you see on Instagram and they start selling NFTs, you buy their piece of work, you're an art collector, you know? So that doesn't need to be a closed environment either. Like art collection, it's open to everyone. If you have the money, and if you have the interest, or you want to invest in an artist, you can do that and you become an art collector as well. Like you can, like, you know what I mean? We want people to realize that like this, being a collector doesn't, again, you don't need to fit into any certain bracket, other than having some money in your bank to make sure you can actually afford it. That's the only exception when it comes to art collection as well, you know.
And on what Farouk said there, sorry, in terms of like having enough money, like people, okay, we saw that he sold art pieces for almost $70 million, but he also released a collection where each of his art pieces were $1.
Yeah.
So like, even for people to access their favorite artists, and I think this is something important for artists in the future, is that it's not always a case of always trying to sell your art for the most. It's like, are you developing a tribe, a community? Like there's a number of artists, that the number of collectors that would want to have access to people's work, but because of the price, the typical price of his work, maybe they wouldn't have got access to it in that way. But when he sold pieces for $1, that now allows other people to gain access to it. And that's something that I think is very important as well, that an art piece doesn't need to be over $1 million for it to be regarded as a beautiful piece of art, or a piece of art worth collecting. As Farouk mentioned, maybe you have a friend who creates art pieces and you just want to buy his art piece, and that's fine. And you're an art collector. Even if you only bought that piece for $1, like you're an art collector too. And just opening, as Farouk said, opening up all of that to people to make them realize that like you can be part of the art world too. You don't need to fit into a certain box. That for us is something that's very important.
Yeah. And just to add to that, even again, like the idea of like art and what is considered to be art, because I know that there's that elitist approach to like deciding what is art and what isn't art. You know, my personal definition of art is if you create something that connects with another individual and makes them feel angry, happy, sad, whatever it is, if you create some sort of a connection between something that you make and something that's and some other individual, you've created a piece of art in my eyes, you know? So that's what's important, is, and we want people to make sure, and we want Somint basically to make life easy when it comes to the selling side of things, so that people can focus on creating that connection and developing those connections and spending your time, instead of worrying on how do I sell my stuff, it's creating those connections with people, because it's those connections that will lead to people wanting to buy your work and believing in your work and believing in you as an individual and believing in you as an artist. NFTs aren't a massive pot of gold. And this is how I've described it to a lot of my artist friends. It's not a pot of gold that you dip your hand in and you're guaranteed some sort of return. It's a pot of gold that you need to put something into. And what you put in is value and connection. And you do that by bringing your tribe along, by bringing your people and continuing to develop your tribe and developing your people and your community and bringing those people along. And then they'll start supporting your work. Like, you know, it starts from home. If your family and your home, your whatever, your people around you support your work, they're going to shout and let people know about your work. And then you just continue to do that, continue creating those connections, and your work will sell eventually. You know, it might take a year, it might take 5 years, it took people 13 years, you know, so don't stop because it doesn't work the first time.
It's like, guys, there is so many things. I'm like, it's really cool because as you say, it's come like from, because for a lot of people it's art, and then as you said, there is also all the world of collectors, and also what you say, what I really like is about the traceability. The example just popped in my head is there is some objects that are famous because the people who owned it more than because of this specific item. So yeah, and also as you say, like if you say, oh, I own this piece of art, was been owned by somebody else, so it creates by itself another kind of value than just the art. I really like it, and it leads to one of the other question I have in mind is about how to say that, being sure that how to say, no, sorry, once again, for me sometimes it's a bit not super clear. It's like there is this video or this digital art which is linked to an NFT, but as you say, it could also be kind of copied. So for me, and I think there are a lot of people ask themselves how you can really assure that you are the owner of this. You know what I mean? I'm not sure it's super clear, but
yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So like, that's actually like, I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest things that we need to clear up with people is, and and like, it's literally all you need to know is that NFTs and the blockchain aren't getting rid of the need, like the induplicability of of anything digital. Like you can still copy and paste things essentially. And that's always going to be the case for as long as there's phones and there's cameras to take pictures and screenshot things. That's always going to be the case. And that isn't necessarily the problem that NFTs are tackling. And that shouldn't really be what we should try and stop, because we want like, if you look at the Mona Lisa, there's millions, I'm sure, of copies around the world, thousands or hundreds of thousands around the world. But how do you know that it's how do we know what we're told? It's the one that's in the Louvre, and it's the one that we're told is the Mona Lisa. You know, I've heard otherwise, but I won't go into that. we know that the one in the Louvre is the one that we believe is the real one. So what blockchain technology and what NFTs enable us to do, again, like we said, is have that birth certificate. And that you can't duplicate that birth certificate, essentially, you know?
Okay,
So
that's really
you can't, so the birth certificate is what you own. It's like you don't own the digital file per se, you know, you own the piece in the Louvre. And people will take screenshots of what you have in the Louvre. People will take pictures of what you have in the Louvre. They'll take pictures and they'll paint it again and do whatever. And they can do all of that. But at the end of the day, the only person that can say, I own this original piece is the Louvre.
Okay.
And you become the Louvre in that situation, you know.
And they probably have certificates for that.
Exactly. You know, and the way that the Louvre authenticates the Mona Lisa is by going through mad scientific analysis and doing all of that. But all of that is done for you through the blockchain. You just get a massive list of transactions, who has owned this before, and you can see that the first owner is the artist.
Okay, that's actually clear. And it's really funny because just before you were able to say Mona Lisa, it's asking the question. It's when I say, yeah, actually there is like millions.
Exactly.
Of copies, but we still know or we believe that
exactly.
the origin. And with blockchain, you can erase the belief. You know exactly who's the owner, and you cannot change it as long as there is not a new transaction from one owner to another.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so because I think it's always, it's a question of our construction, because with Mona Lisa, yeah, of course, it's in the Louvre. It is the real one. Who knows? But with digital art and stuff, it seems so easy. For instance, when you talk about memes or this kind of thing, it's so easy to copy, to paste and stuff.
Exactly.
But I understand the point. At the end of the day, you are the one who have the birth certificate.
Yeah.
So you are the rightful owner.
Exactly. And the thing as well, like, because one of the things I think like is going to pop up for a lot of people with this question as well is like, oh, but what if I just like print a picture of it and have it in my house, and like everyone else can print a picture? Yes, everyone can print a picture, like, but at the end of the day, like, it's like I can print a picture of the Mona Lisa again off the internet and put it on my wall, and someone will be like, oh, that looks really real, or like, that looks really nice. Is that real? It's going to be hard for me to prove that it's real. But if I have, with NFTs, if I have the token, I can show them, no, this is my NFT, this is my token, this is it in my wallet. You can see the transactions, who it came from, you can see the provenance, I can show you its history, I can show you where it started. That's what, it's that simple. And it's not that simple, but it's that simple. You know what I mean?
And the truth is, between us three here, whoever is watching this podcast, there's some people that they may not care. They walk into somebody's house and they see a print and they don't really care whether or not it's the legit one or it's not the legit one. But within the community of that specific artist, that creator, they will care. If you have that print on your wall and you're here claiming that is a legit piece, and somebody from that collection, that tribe or whatever maybe comes out and is like, no, actually, I have the certificate here, it's my piece. You're not going to look the smartest anyways, trying to make it out as if you have a legit piece when the reality is you don't have a legit piece and you can't prove it.
And I think it's also going to come also with time, with more people using this kind of platform and knowing how it works, and there is more trust. I think that it's also going to become something that people, okay, I have the certificate, nobody's going to ask how it works, and okay, we know it's for real. Now, I would like perhaps to transition a bit and to ask you, what exactly are you creating with Somint? What was the idea behind, how it's going to work, just to have an overview of what's in your mind so far?
Okay, so for us, Somint will be an NFT art marketplace. It will be a place where artists and collectors can come to trade and exchange NFT tokens, but specifically NFT tokens related to art. Now, one of what I would say are unique selling points is that something that we are seeing is that this ecosystem is a niche within a niche that the masses aren't really educated about, unfortunately. And something that we want to do first is ensure that we educate the masses about this ecosystem, because it's for us, we want the masses to be in this ecosystem, and the only way for the masses to be in this ecosystem is if they know about it, if they understand it, if they're educated on it. So that is something for us that we are very, very passionate about, and we're putting that passion first, and we're going to help educate as many people as we can about Somint and about NFTs in particular.
And also, so like, it's really the idea to have an exchange platform, or can also the artist or creator create their tokens through your services?
Yeah.
So the artist will be able to create their token on Somint. So they have an art piece, they'll be able to go onto Somint and mint their NFT, create their NFT that they will attach to their art piece. And from Somint, you'll be able to trade with collectors, with your tribe, people who are interested in buying your artwork. And from there, also, maybe other collectors will be able to resell art pieces that they've purchased. So yes, a marketplace for that.
That's, yeah, because I think it's also important for people that they have kind of everything at the same place. You know, like the creator can use the platform to mint their NFT, and then to sell it. And it's also going to be like, I don't know if it's the right word in English, but a showcase. I mean, a place where they can have a kind of online gallery, or how do you...
Yeah, you can't. We'll you just have to wait and see for those ones anyway. We have lots and lots of. We have some cool stuff in store. But we'll let your imagination run wild.
I can tell you guys are on the Cardano thing, you know, like you don't really everything at this at the right time, you know? you tease us a bit.
Yeah. We'll let the birds fly when it's time.
Yeah. We've got a couple of birds too. Charles isn't the only one.
Yeah.
No, but okay, it's clear about the fact that, okay, a platform when you can exchange first of all, but also create and mint your token if you are a creator, and new cool features to be released soon, if I well understand. And last thing I would like to discuss with you, I'm not sure if there is necessarily something, but do you see some specific application or something special that can be done with Africa? Because there is actually a very interesting art market, but no so developed. There is a lot of artists, but yeah, it's difficult for them. So do you have some ideas for this market?
Yeah. So I guess like, and this is one of our own personal missions, and we spoke about this on our website on like our introducing ourselves videos. Like, we are two Black men, and we've going through the world at the age that we are at now, and we've seen we know our own struggles personally, but we also see all the countless struggles around the world. And one of those things is being held back, you know, and not being let into certain rooms, and not being let into certain spaces because of the color of our skin, or because of where we come from. And we're both from Africa, like originally. So we are basically focused on making sure that we open the space to as many people. We're not focused on opening this to the Western masses. We're opening this to the global masses. Okay. You know. So, and that obviously includes Africa for us. And like, that's obviously something that's quite personal to both of us. And we want to, because we know that, like, I don't want to get in too deep, but like, because a lot of stuff originates from that continent, you know, that doesn't get celebrated, and those stories aren't told. And we want to basically, we'd love to like open, we don't like, I don't know, I don't want to take ownership of like, we're going to be the ones who opens the world's eyes, because those people are already doing it, but we want to make it easier for people to see those things, and see that origin, and see the art that's coming out of like those places. Like, there's so many amazing talented artists and creators like all over Nigeria. Like, to name one, Stephen Tayo in Nigeria, who's a photographer that I follow, and I think his work is amazing, and he's doing bits. But like, there's countless artists and creators that people here in the West may not know of, and may not come across, because of there's just no, I don't know,
infrastructure.
It's like there's just no, or like there's no, I don't know, there's almost no, they don't feel the need to see it. But we're not going to make it a question of whether or not you need to see it. You have no choice but to see it. You know, it's going to be there. Take it or leave it. And that means take it or leave it, as in take our platform or leave the platform.
Yeah,
So
I think. Go ahead, Gwendol.
No, sorry. I just wanted to say that the idea is once again to have the thing as big as possible and to actually let everybody enter. So like you don't say, oh, you don't worth it or something. So just naturally, it's gonna allow more people to show their things to the world.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not specific to one place or the other, but you want to be sure not to exclude anybody.
Exactly. Because that's been done in the past, essentially. Is that exclusionary mentality of like, exactly like you described it perfectly there, you know? Sorry, Azeez, you were going to say something.
No, I think I've lost my train of thought. But I just think, the most important thing to us is opening this up to the masses. And within that, as has been mentioned, that also includes opening it up to the creative talent that exists on the African continent. And, you know, we will have different birds that will land at different times, but there may be ways that we will specifically focus on helping bring African creatives into the ecosystem. Those are things that we can touch on later on down the line. But in general, ensuring that the education and the tools to learn about this space is available and out there, that is something that we are going to make our mission to get out there for the world to see.
Yeah. And also just to add to that as well, like if anyone, like we're always open to ideas and contributions and anyone who's got ideas as well for us. So like feel free, if you have an idea specific to this question, to reach out to either of us and let us know, and we'll do our best to see what we can do.
Okay, so I think I'm going to be sure to put all the links and relevant information in the description. So if people wants to reach you directly, it's going to be easier. I have so many more questions, but I think that somehow like the time is a bit. But yeah, I think this because there is a trend with NFT, and I think a lot of people think it's like it's because there is this piece of that a GIF has been sold for I don't know how many millions, but I think there is behind something so much more powerful than just the trend of NFTs, like allow people to do stuff once again. And I think it's the creed of the blockchain and stuff, but because also when I the first time I heard about art and stuff, since I have this idea of elite stuff, I was like, all right, so once again for speculative things, and it's only the same we're gonna have their pocket filled with the money. But like the idea here is a bit broader than that, and like allowing people entering, and if they feel themselves as artists, to have the chance to show to the world, and then
exactly
the market are going to decide. But you have the chance to do it, which is completely not the case now. If you're not known, if you're not backed by some powerful people in the industry, I'm pretty sure it's difficult, and you want to kind of erase those barriers.
I think on what you were saying there in terms of like the elitism and the money involved within blockchain, within cryptocurrency, NFTs, something that I've seen repeat itself again and again is that people get very distracted by the money-making aspects that exist within this technological ecosystem. And I'm not here to say that there isn't money to be made, but I think if you're able to like push that curtain back of, okay, what money is here to be made, and actually you look at the core principles, the core values of these various technologies, there is a wealth of knowledge, of fruit that is there to be taken. I don't want to say taken advantage of, but to eat and nourish yourself. And if you really understand what blockchain technology is, that's when you will really begin to see its value. If you really understand what NFTs are, then you begin to really truly see its value. Like in the example of Beeple and him selling his artwork for the amount that it sold, is a lot of people may be like, wow, this artist made an art piece and it sold for this much. But they also need to realize that like at this moment in time, we're going through an art renaissance of some sort. And that is, to a certain extent, that's an NFT art renaissance. And I'm not here to say that every single NFT that's being sold today is going to be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands of euros down the line. But there's no denying, we don't know, but there's no denying that there's going to be certain pieces from this time that are going to mark history.
Exactly.
And that in itself, I can't put a price on that. But people, sorry?
I said history's already being made as we speak, like, you know.
Exactly. History's being made and being written. And some people, what they're doing right now is they're collecting pieces of history that 5 years, 10 years, 50, 20, 30, 40, 100 years down the line, people are going to look back to this time and be looking for these art pieces. And I think that is a very interesting thing to be living through right now, because I'm sure when the Mona Lisa was being painted, people didn't realize the significance that it would have in human civilization down the line.
Exactly. Bars.
It's once again, like it's really like honestly, it really opened my eyes on some aspects and on the broader vision than just speculation on art. And I think it's really interesting and promising. So I'm pretty sure that, because like when I'm going to rewatch this, I'm going to have other questions. So perhaps I don't know, in few weeks or months, I don't know, it would be interesting.
Stay in touch. Don't be a stranger, Gwendol.
I think I just, before we go off as well, I might just add to that as well, like just on the point of like, because on the pricing point, because I think a lot of the times we're so like accustomed today with, especially with this social media generation, to just read the headlines, you know, and see the first layer, you know, and you really need to peel back that layer if you really want to invest in yourself and whatever it is you're trying to learn about it. If you're learning about this space, you need to see beyond that first layer, because all you'll get is their headline, and that's what they'll want you to see. That's why it's the boldest text, is the biggest thing. That's not going to tell you the full story. So you need to peel back that first layer, look past the headline, what's happening inside, and then apply that same methodology when it comes to what you're creating in this space. See, I gave this analogy to a friend the other day about seeing NFTs as a new rendition of selling a print for your work. You know, you're selling prints. Everyone has access to be able to sell prints. Everyone else can sell prints. Everyone else can sell NFTs. The exact same thing. What makes your print different? Why do I want to buy your print over the next person's print? That might be cheaper, might be more expensive. What makes your NFT unique? What makes the experience around your NFT unique? Is it that your community is unique? Is it the way that do you sell something in addition with that NFT? Is it, don't just try not to just sell. Some people will make millions and whatever else on just selling that print or that NFT, but what makes yours unique? And focus on making whatever you're creating unique to you. And the only way to be unique in this world is by being yourself 100%, and focusing on, how do I be myself? That's all you should worry about when you're creating, is how do I make this uniquely me? Don't pander, don't create for other people, create for yourself first, and let the world, or if you put it out there and people like it, they like it. And don't get mad if people don't like it either. You know, if you're trying to be a commercial artist, you might have to change things or whatever. You might have to just wait until you find the right people if you want to hold your integrity, you know, and that's okay. There's no rush, you know. That's it.
I don't want to add anything to that, because I'm gonna because this was like a really deep thought, and so I'm not gonna add too much to that. But I think it's really interesting, like really like opening this access for creator, and like, as you say, also release keep them from some pressure, because they're gonna do what they want and how they want. Then it's their job to see how is the best way to sell or to present the art. But they are not going to be forced by somebody who wants to, like a gallerist, or I don't know, I'm not an expert in anything, who would say you should do that instead of this because it's more bankable. No, you can just do things because it's what you feel inside. And I think art is all about this as well.
Definitely. It's subjective at the end of the day. You could say that's about that, somebody else could say it's about something else. But I think within nurturing your tribe, your community, and that doesn't mean making stuff primarily just for your community, but nurturing your tribe in the sense that ensure that people are coming to you for you. That's something that you should focus on. And as Farouk touched on, you know, create art that is from you, is from your heart, that is from your passion, and hopefully people who like it will come along. And if people don't like it, then you move on and keep doing your thing, and hopefully those who do will come along eventually.
You know, yeah. It's just like being in a relationship, you know. You have to make sure you find the right person. If things aren't working out, you need to find someone else, and that's okay, you know. and that's okay. Sometimes you shouldn't feel the need to force things to make things work. Like if it's not working, it's not working for some, but like you need to know when you need to, like, you just need to change directions sometimes and like find the right people for you. If you're passionate about it, especially if you're passionate about your work and inside of you, I love this piece of work I'm making, I really want to make this piece of work, you'll 100% find the people. It will take time. It's not going to be easy. It's not always easy. Some people find it overnight and they're very fortunate. If you're fortunate enough, that's fortunate, but some people have to put in the work, and that's okay to put in the work. You just have to be willing to put in the work, and it makes that reward so much sweeter when you do find those people.
Makes total sense. And you're gonna actually gonna give them the ability to sorry, I can't find the word.
To make minting your art as simple as post. That's it. Once you can, like, we just want to take as much stress off your shoulders when it comes to that side of things, so you can focus your attention on building your tribe and bringing people along with you.
Makes total sense. So I'm really like in a hurry to see a bit exactly how it's gonna look like and when it's gonna start. And then probably we can discuss again when it started and it all works. Thank you very much, guys. It was really, really interesting. Really cool discussion.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Our pleasure.
And also, I just want to add there, if you are part of the Cardano community and you're watching or listening to this podcast, we have our proposal in Project Catalyst for Fund 3, and we would really appreciate your vote.
So it's also a link I'm going to put in the description, because actually I think it's also a great way to support your work, waiting for it to be live.
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, and talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.